Hello and welcome to Let's Play Higurashi Himatsubushi, aka the continuation of the Higurashi LP. It's gonna be a pain in the ass. I've got a splitting headache. Well, I always seem to have a headache. Seriously, I should see a doctor about that. I think it's just too much laptop, to be honest, for me. It's like my head literally felt like a freaking split coconut before I put this cooling suit on my head. Anyways, though, Marrakeshi's on sale, see? See? It's April. First Dance Rock, I still don't actually have it here, but it's on sale, and the freaking next one isn't on sale yet. It's been half a year, for God's sake. I'm also probably gonna have, like, I don't know, some soundtrack over this or something while I'm rambling on here before we start. Simply because they'll have the because I've got the charger plugged in. I mean, it's charged fair enough for recording. I'm probably only gonna record 1 or 2 parts at most because I am expecting food at pretty much any 15-20 minute point, I don't know. So I actually own every one of these, right? It's just like, no you don't, you've only got the quest arts. Well, as I said, Manga Gamer released them years ago, but because they're releasing them again, they seem to have removed the previous ones. I remember it quite well. Like, when I first, got it from Manga Gamer, it was like they were releasing it much like they're doing now, except it was with the original art style only. But there was a site that had kind of modification you could make so that you could get the newer art style onto it. That was neat, and that's how I played it back in the day. But they were still releasing the answer arcs back then as well. And I'd bought each answer arc individually. And then they'd removed it from the site and put it into a pack essentially. Where it's 1, 2, 3, and 4 all in one rather than being separately. So you couldn't buy them separately, which made it so that if I were to, back then I used a different laptop. I've got a new laptop now. I've had this laptop for years now, but it's that far back essentially. And so I can't really download that, So that kind of sucks. So I'm still waiting. I mean, I plan on playing it all on the Steam version anyway, but still. By the way, as usual, point out Manga Gamer is a not safe for work 18 plus type site. It's got a lot of those type of novels. If you get what I'm saying. Anyways, I'm going to have to reshape the freaking thing as usual with a window when I click on this button here. Actually, let's go for a recap first. Went for Onikakushi, look at that, 19 hours. Compare that, right, to Watanagashi. 24 hours. Higurashi, 24 hours. Onikakushi is significantly shorter than the 2 middle ones, but I'm pretty sure it's definitely longer than the 4th one. So, yeah. Don't expect anything long from Himatsubushi, because I don't remember it being very long. Although these are it's like, I miss that about YouTube, man. I remember back in the day when, actually let's show it. I remember back in the day when I could click on playlists like this, and be all like, oh, let's click on that, and I'd be like, how about, let's see, oh, look at that, 40 videos, 4 views, updated 6 days ago. That's nice, but is there anything else? My LP of the visual novel Higurashi, I don't even know if it's a comment, really. It's just a habit of mine. It's just like, oh, look at that, nice. Remember back in the day when they pretty much put the freaking goddamn amount of time it takes? I miss that. To explain what the hell I'm rambling on about that is, YouTube playlists used to have well, it wasn't an option, it was more of it's like this, you know how it's like saying, oh, it's 40 videos and it's 4 views, 4 people have viewed this playlist. He used to have he used to point out like how long the playlist was, like it combined all the time for each video in the playlist and like pretty much make a total amount of time for it. I miss that, man. I can still kind of look at that with like, just like, you know, when you like do that, well, you know, hold down the left and whatever, and you just like scroll through. I do that with my videos, just to like, then right click and be like, oh, properties, how many hours was this LP? I like that little kind of statistic fact thing, shit like that. We can't do that with YouTube no more. So I don't think that we actually did go 24 hours for this. It's probably more like 23 hours. Maybe. Because there were probably points where like I left the novel running occasionally. But anyways, Himatsubushi. Old art style. Imagine if I'd like LP'd it like that with the old art style. I mean, I don't know. I remember the first time I played Higurashi. It's like, I know I should just get on with it, and I'm rambling, but first time I played it, I didn't even play it because the art style just kind of made me kind of go, It's kind of like One Piece, for example. I've heard loads of good things about it, but the art style is just too off-putting. But, you know, with the newer art style, well, it's not new now, really. It's kind of like probably quite a few years old, art style-wise, but it's more kind of, it's easier on the eyes. While this one's a bit like deformed hands. I mean, that's what you could say about anime in general. It's like, look at the size of their eyes, what the hell? I'm kind of used to that. It's mostly the hands, really. But anyway, let's get on this. And I just know one thing is going to happen here. I can totally expect it. This is the first time playing this one, you know, on Steam. So I just know my antivirus is going to be like, oh, I'm going to try to remove that. And I'll be like, no, it's not a freaking bad file, god damn it. Just because like 100 billion people haven't used this. Choose your preferred language. Well, Japanese, no. Let's see. Or something, you know, blah blah blah. Or blah 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 blah. Shite kudasai. Yeah, that means please. I mean, that's pretty much what it's showing right there, isn't it? It's just like it's like kanji characters. Ow, are really kind of like, I don't know how to describe them really. I mean, they obviously give context to words, because if it was all in hiragana like this, it'd get even more confusing. But I don't know kanji characters enough, you know. So like it could be just something like, say, like that right there. That is she. That is the character for she. It could be like something as simple as that. One of the characters be she, and it'll have like hiragana following it to complete the word or whatever. It's confusing. 7th expansion. I wonder what they do nowadays. Are they still like, do they make novels? Do they do something else? I don't know. Ryakushi or something like that, I think was the main writer. Yeah, there it is. Ryakushi 7. I can't be asked with the... No, I will. Just for completion's sake, I will stop the recording here and reshape the window, because otherwise it'll just bug me. Might as well get it over. I will be right back. Alrighty then, let's configure. Just like, let's begin, don't you mean? No, we gotta configure. I mean, look at that. That's gonna be way too loud. Yeah, that'll do. My speakers aren't as chaotic nowadays. Although I'll still have to edit, you know, with the microphone because it's kind of low compared to the rest of the audio. Every time, man. Let's begin. Himatsubushi, for you the final mystery. No, it's not. It's just a final question after all. Well, I suppose that's the point, isn't it? The final mystery. Everything will be revealed in the answer arcs. I now interest you of all the mysteries hidden within Higurashi when they cry. However comical it may be, if you have reached any conjecture, then you have passed. This final novel is a meager reward for you. Conjecture is impossible. You have the right to reject the story. Okay. They make it out to be a bonus one, but they kind of like have it so that it does have some impact. Who's the criminal, you ask? Don't you research for them in the story? Who is the criminal, you ask? You know what the criminal did. Who is the criminal? Who is the criminal who will kill me now? Frederica Bernskoll. What was that Olive series that they made? Midsummer 1985? That's past 83, though. I had misread the time and ended up arriving too early. Like I said, this one has a different protagonist. We do see a bit of Hinamizawa, but I can see why they see this one as kind of being, it's like they're trying to say oh, this one isn't canon essentially, but it is. It kind of makes its way in it, slyly sneaks its way into it, but it's kind of it's a bit of the oddball of the question arcs. And the way they used the wording they used in the front at the start there with comical it may be or something like that. This one is a lot more kind of how to describe the atmosphere. It's not very tense essentially. It's mostly kind of chill. There is some elements to it that aren't as chill, but for the most part it's pretty chill. Like Mahjong and shit that I mentioned. Anyways, I had misread the time and I read the same line. The schedule board flipped with a series of clicks. My flight to Sapporo was still a bit later on. I still had over an hour before boarding. I'm rambling again, as usual, before even getting on with the plot, but 1985, right? This is taking place right here. Now that doesn't make sense to me, because the plot in Higurashi took place in 1983. So maybe, if I can't remember, maybe he's gonna be I remember back in 1983, that time when I went to Hinamizawa and blah-de-boo, blah-blah. I don't know. Well, I might as well close my eyes for a bit on that bench over there then. I came here directly from work, so maybe the fatigue from that was making me sleepy. Finding a suitable bench, I put my luggage on the seat next to me and settled down. Also, I'm not recording at a desk. Can't be asked moving everything off my chair at the moment. Just well, I could. I feel like doing that now. Could, but I can't be asked. Already into the recording. Phew. That's how I felt after cleaning my room, which is another reason probably why I couldn't be asked to set up my desk and all that. Just well, I didn't necessarily clean my room, I hoovered it. And it's just it's exhausting, man. I sighed like an old man. I had hoped to stay young forever, but had become splendidly middle age. Apparently the rumor that even people in the latter half of their 20s experience a decline in their physical strength wasn't a lie. I'm still technically in my mid-20s, but it draws, man. The late 20s. No! I'm having a quarter-life crisis. It has been mind-numbingly busy at work lately, so I rarely had any time to myself. This might have been the first time I'd been able to enjoy a journey alone like this since I was a student. The reason behind this trip was to meet with an old friend. It was a bit strange to call him an old friend. In fact, it might be better to call him a bad one. After retiring a couple of years ago, he moved to Sapporo, his mother's hometown. I think I remember that. Yeah. His mother passed away soon after, and he was now peacefully enjoying his second lease on life. His name was Ooishi. Remember him? Well, how could you forget him if you've been paying any attention at all? He was a former detective from the Primary Investigation Unit at the station of Okamiya, Blah Prefecture. You know what's interesting about this is, like, if you saw Tatari Goroshi, and I'm not sure if a similar kind of thing happening with Tanagashi or not. Definitely didn't happen in Onagakushi, but you'd be kind of like looking at this and be like, 1985 takes place after the events of the Higurashi stuff in Hinamizawa and shit. So you just like think, so then what happened there? So like the things keep changing and jumbling. It's all so confusing. You're just like, what? Just what? If you really think about it. But it all makes sense in the answer box. That's all I'm gonna say. Every time I start rambling about that, I have to stop myself. It's like, no, you'll end up spoiling the plot because you'll ramble on about it. To be honest, the only direct contact we ever had didn't last more than 3 days. It's like in Watanagashi when Keiichi first met Shion, and I was like, edited out me pointing out that Shion and Mion were in fact actual twins, because it wasn't like revealed till a little later on in that arc, isn't it? It's just like, I keep doing that, so I'm always like, nope, edit that bit out. Anyways, to be honest, the only direct contact we ever had didn't last more than 3 days. After that, we exchanged New Year's cards, but never met again. So this would be the first time meeting him in 7 years. 7 years? Oh yeah, actually. Yeah, that makes sense now that I think about it. I think they meet up and reminisce about it. It's like, oh, remember 7 years ago? Oh, those were days. So we're going even further back in the plot, technically. We're going like 2 years into the future of the plot, sort of, but also going back a few years as well. Like 4 years, I think. So it would make sense how we're probably not gonna see Keiichi or Rena at the very least, because they didn't live in Hinamizawa back then. So this would be the first time meeting him in 7 years. Well, at least Keiichi. Kind of thinking back to... Again, don't friggin' talk... Well, we technically saw that in Onagakushi, I think. But still, don't talk about spoilers from other arcs, damn it! Focus on the current plot. In other words, we met 7 years ago. In 1978, not 1983 where the main plot took place, it took place in the past. There was something I just had to ask, to talk to him about concerning that time. To explain that it was impossible not to recall the incident that happened back then. So another incident happened back then, and that kidnapping, the details and resolution of which will resign the darkness. So something else of note happened before the present plot. Also, it was impossible not to recall a certain mysterious girl. Gee, I wonder who it could be. Could it... Wait, my name is Mamoru Akasaka. It was a year that had been strangely hot, even though it was only June. You know, what is his name? I mean, that's the character, right? Akasaka. That's quite a name. Akasaka. Or maybe it's pronounced like Akasaka or something like that. Sometimes you get some oddly silent syllables, but it's probably Akasaka. But that's just repeat that out loud. Akasaka, 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 Akasaka. Has a bit of a ring to it. Early summer 1978. Yep. The past. Goodbye, teacher! Okay, bye, watch out for cars! And don't drop in The friend's house along the way, alright? Make sure you get your textbook. No, this is probably Chie. Although she's not appearing on screen. Why is that? Okay, bye, watch out for cars, and don't drop in a friend's house along the way. Make sure you get your textbooks in order for tomorrow before you go to bed. Clatter, clatter, clatter! The lively sound of children running towards the hallway. Who's speaking? Hey now, I didn't tell you before. Didn't I tell you before? I already have one of those. I don't know who I am. I don't need any more. Oh, okay. The unique high-pitched voice of youth. The energetic shrill of the cicadas went completely unheard by the ears of whatever. This bit pronunciation. Children returning home from school split off one by one from the groups of friends as they went through intersections in the residential area. As I remembered, I forgot to mention the word of the day, didn't I? Word of the day, what'll it be, what'll it be, what'll it be? It will be... I just said, it will be, and Hachi, that's what it'll be. It literally means be or what. Of course, it depends on the character, like Hachi is 8, Hachi can also mean flower pot. It just depends on the kanji character, so I can see why they'd have those characters. Because if it's just written out in hiragana, it would get confusing. But it gets confusing anyway for me, because I don't know the characters. Anyways. Even though there were several of them in a group as they left the school, as they got closer to their homes, their numbers dwindled. That's why the few friends you were walking home with acted as an indicator that you were that much closer to your destination. Later, see ya! See you tomorrow! I don't think he had that high-pitched voice, probably. He finally parted ways with his last friend. A van was parked at a bend in the road. The window was open and the sound of the radio leaking outside. It must have been the news or something. For that reason, the 3 of them were arrested for traffic violations and obstruction of justice. Due to the protests against the Hinamizawa Dam project resulting in bloodshed when clashing with riot police last month, things have only become more violent. The police are therefore taking precautions against radical activists causing yet another instance. Last week there was also a direct confrontation with Minister Inugai on the steps of the Ministry of Construction. Oh man, how did I forget all about that? Yeah, the dam incident, of course. There were plenty of instances that happened before the freaking plot started. So we're getting some freaking, first-hand backstory from where it all began. The dam construction. I mean, it isn't an answer arc, so we're going to be left with more questions than answers, but still. The boy's ears perked up at the mention of the name Inugai. Inugai. At that moment, a man's face peeked out suddenly from the window of the van. His behavior was a little different than that of a man looking around to see if there was any incoming traffic before he opened the door of his vehicle. His eyes meeting suddenly with the unfamiliar man, the boy panicked slightly. The more I think about this arc now, it's just like, they clearly originally intended just like, yeah, this is just like a kind of thank you. Just like, yeah, this is a little bonus for you readers here. But it's like, it is essentially, it's like, we're going to give you some backstory, some context from the early instance. Because in the answer arcs, we're going to go back to, what we've been doing with the question arc so far. Where it'll take place in the current plot rather than in the past. So, yeah, so here's a little bonus for you, but it'll also have some relevance later on as well. But, well, I suppose if they didn't do this arc, really, it would kind of feel out of nowhere for certain points, or something that I won't talk about because of spoilers. Nightingale okay, Skylark okay. Leaves the skirt 2 blocks around us. We're good to go. The man in the passenger seat whispered quietly. Nodding in acknowledgement, the man opened the door and stood before the boy. Are you Toshiki Inagaiku? While asking that, the man peered at the boy's name tag. Toshiki Inugai, the name was written plainly there. I'm having trouble remembering that. I had trouble freaking the opposite way with that. It's in Japanese, right? It's a Japanese name. So it's not I, it's E. And for some reason it's throwing me off all of a sudden. God damn it, did I click off that? Guess I must have. The phone rang for a third time. If he reached out, he could easily pick up the receiver. However, he was concerned that if he picked it up before it had even finished ringing once, whoever was on the other end of the line would think him a fairly cheap person. That's why he normally never picked up the phone until the third ring. Even he thought it was a worthless habit. Whoever is thinking that there isn't much meaning in waiting for just 3 rings, wouldn't waiting for 5 be alright? It's very much a reality. His mind filled with such trifling thoughts, he picked up the phone after the thoughts after the third ring had finished, its reverb dampened by his action. Yes, hello? That's totally not his voice. Hello? He knew that sometimes, due to a malfunction at the switchboard, calls didn't connect well. At those times, it was best to hang up and let the person on the other end call again. Thinking that, the moment he began to hang up the phone, he sensed that he was definitely connected after all. He felt the presence of the person on the other end of the line, keeping silent. Hello? There was no way they didn't hear his question. What was the meaning of this? It wasn't like he didn't know that person could use silent calls to harass others. However, he'd never received a call like that until today. Maybe he was just lucky before, but he didn't believe that he would receive such a call on his phone. There were no direct calls to or from this line. Everything had to go through an operator. Therefore, there was absolutely no way the call would be connected unless it was verified there was somebody else on the other end of the line. That's why he didn't understand how to deal with this silent call, and instead settled into confusion. I don't know who you are, but if you have nothing to say, I'm going to hang up. Please call again some other time. Intending that to be a budding line, he made slam down the receiver. It was at that moment the person on the other end spoke for the first time. What? You didn't say who you were, so I was anxious. If you're not Minister Inagai, please hang up right away. He couldn't help but be surprised by the extremely strange voice on the other end of the line. Okay, you want a strange voice?
You didn't say who you were, so I was anxious. You told us, Minister Inagai, please hang up right away.
Was there a human alive who could speak with this hoarse and metallic voice? No, this was a voice he had heard somewhere before. It was the kind of voice that was on those low-brow documentaries that they'd use when they wanted to hide the identity of the speaker, wasn't it? The voice he was hearing over the line was exactly like that. I see what you mean by that, but I don't think I could emulate something like that. Who are you?
As I said, that's what I want to ask. What you Minister Inagai?
Inugai hesitated to answer. Unable to discern the intent of this suspicious phone call, he had a vague feeling that something was off. He thought about hanging up the phone and asking the operator who initiated the call. My god, this arc's already got off to an odd start, really, isn't it? I mean, we get like a vague introduction of the protagonist for this one, and then we switch to this guy. I thought we were still from the protagonist's perspective, but nope. We're like, now we're getting into the, like, this Inugai person side of things now. He thought about hanging up a phone and asked the operator who initiated the call. However, he forced himself to restrain that urge, and for the time being, chose to state his name and listen. That's right, this is Inugai. I said my name, now you say yours.
My name doesn't matter. First of all, let's begin by what is a situation you're in right now. Right now, you're sitting in a chair talking on the phone. Yes. Then why don't you try opening the lower drawer to your right?
The lowest drawer to the right of the minister's chair. There was a lock on the... There was a lock on. Oh, no. Yeah, that actually makes sense. A lock on it. It's quite odd, really, isn't it? Because, like, it's a lock on, but it's also on it. Not enough to function as a safe, but nevertheless it was a drawer that contained some valuable things. That's why Inugai thought that the person wanted some of the important information contained in the drawer. Sorry, but I don't have any intention of opening that. I have no reason to follow orders from somebody who won't even give me his name.
If you don't open that drawer, I'll hang up the phone. You will most likely end up regretting that. Why don't you think about opening that drawer first?
God, that does more... That's strictly like the evil Blackfoot voice in terms of, my throat. Inugai didn't like following orders from this suspicious person one bit. However, he was concerned about what the man said about regretting it, so he decided to open the drawer. He took the small key he kept stowed in his wallet and unlocked the drawer. His hand stopped right before he opened it. What if there was a bomb inside, and it would explode if the drawer was opened? That delusion took hold of him. He quelled that instinct and opened it. Did you do it? The thing that's in there. Do you know what it is?
Do you know what it is?
This is... What is the meaning of this? Hey!
I don't think there's any need for me to stay. Is there? I'll give you some time. So please, think about it a little. I'll contact you again later. Now then, pardon me.
Hey, it was the evil Blackboard! No, it wasn't. Wait! It does a number on my throat, the evil Blackboard voice. Hello! Hello! The call had already ended. That would not change no matter how much he yelled at it. Even still, Inugai, without realizing that, continued yelling into the receiver for a while. The drawer was still open. On top, the folders crammed into the drawer. It lay there. Toshiki Inugai, written in plain lettering on a grade school's name tag, just lying there. Enshrined there, completely out of place, as if it were cowering. Higurashi when they cry, when they get interruptions. Told you. I was expecting that. We just get through the, like, what is it? Is it called a prologue? Is that what we just went through? Do you remember Yuki, this music? It won't be in the answer box because the soundtrack is official there. And these were chosen by Manga Gamer back in the day when they originally translated this, but they might have been, I don't really know. I think they were, 'cause I've heard them on YouTube. Makes me wonder if Manga Gamer chose these soundtracks. Like there must be public domain music. I think they picked some nice music. But with that in mind, what was the original ones then? It must have been a different public domain music for the original, because they didn't get an official soundtrack. Like the Anthrax actually have a fan-made kind of soundtrack, in a way. So, we'll be getting different tracks for the answer arcs. But anyways, this one will have a lot of mahjong. It will involve a different protagonist. It will involve the past. And it will all be about a kidnapping and the dam instance. That is what has been established so far. What more will we encounter? Find out next time. So I'll see you next time, viewers. See you next time.